Hello, guys. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a big match preview Wednesday night. Sheffield United versus Coventry at Bramall Lane. Of course, I need some expert analysis from Oli Mann, my Sheffield United Way correspondent. Oli, Derby win. Not a big weekend for you lot, really. Derby win, sent Wednesday down. And now looking forward to the biggest game of your week, I presume.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We had just the standard usual stuff, just relegating your biggest rivals at home in the middle of February. Just standard weekend, really. Nothing to get too excited about. But obviously, this is a completely different challenge. I mean, we made so much hard work out of that game on Sunday. Like, anybody who watched it will be sat there thinking, they didn't look that good. And it's true, we didn't. I thought it was one of the worst performances. If we were playing a proper team, we would have just been battered. And if we turn up anything like that on Wednesday night, I think we will get it. So we go from what could be argued as the biggest game of our season so far, possibly to the hardest game that we've got left. Obviously, welcoming yourselves to the Lane on Wednesday.
Yeah, hardest game you've got left. Probably the hardest game we've got left as well, given Coventry don't have to play Millwall or Ipswich or Middlesbrough for the rest of the season. We've got a game against Hull at home. But for our away games, this does seem like the toughest test. Talk to us a bit about Sheffield United's home form and how you've been getting on at Bramall Lane.
So we've been in fantastic form recently, particularly at Bramall Lane. I think it's one defeat in our last 10. That came against Middlesbrough just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure you will have been watching that with a very close eye. I think anybody who watched that game, I'm a little bit biased, but I think that was the best game of football that I've seen in the Championship until Coventry then played Borough a week later. I think it proved that we are at the level of the top teams when we are absolutely on it. It's just that we've been so inconsistent, started the season so poorly that we've left ourselves way too much to do. But we've certainly got a very good level in us, and we've seen that so much at home, particularly in this run of games. I think in those 10 games, we've scored 3 or more on 6 occasions. Obviously, Ipswich got absolutely demolished when they came to Bramall Lane. So, yeah, I think at Bramall Lane, we are possibly one of the best 3-4 teams in the division. I just think we've left ourselves too much to do to be really competing with you up at the top of the league. I think the biggest bit to worry about is our attack. If you've got any weaknesses defensively, since Patrick Bamford's come in, he's been a game changer. He, I think, now has the best goals per minute ratio in the league, or at the very least is very high on that list. And so, yeah, we are starting to look like a really good team. It's just whether or not that's come too late.
Talk to us a bit about Bamford. He's obviously a good name for us to come on to. He was training with Coventry. It seemed like Frank Lampard wanted to sign him. We didn't get the deal over the line for one reason or another. We know what he could do at Leeds, but I've been quite taken aback by the impact he's had at Sheffield United from the outside. And you seem to suggest that the impact on the inside has been pretty massive as well.
Yeah, it absolutely has, because he's almost revolutionised the way United were playing. We like to play with one up front, but Bamford gave us the option to try 2 up front. He's got the most out of Tom Cannon. Tom Cannon is just completely lost up front on his own, but suddenly you play him in a 2 and he started picking up. His performances look better. He's linking the play. He's able to get on the end of balls played through. So it's not just the impact Bamford's had with his own goal-scoring form, which is ridiculous. He's actually given us an outlet. We can hold the ball up front. We can bring other players into the game. And yeah, he just seems to have the magic touch in terms of what is happening in front of goal at the minute. It's 8 goals in 16 games. Obviously, not all of those being starts. At Bramall Lane in particular, I think there's only been 1 game he hasn't scored in that he's played. And so he really has just been, incredible. I think what he's done more than anything, though, is he's coincided his sort of joining the team with a massive return to form from Gustavo Harmer. And I think so much of that is down to Bamford. So like I say, what we've got now is a striker who can play back to goal. So the ball comes in, he can hold it up. He's really strong, so much more than I'd ever given him credit for. I thought he was relatively small, relied on his movement up front, basically an elevated Billy Sharp, you could say, although don't tell anybody I said it, because you can't elevate Billy Sharp. And so I really thought he was going to be relying on his movement, and we were going to be seeing a real intelligent footballer. But what I've noticed more than anything is how well he uses his body. Back to goal, brings players in, and that's created the space for Harmer to start having an impact. I think for Harmer now, it's 6 assists in his last 5 games. I think in terms of goal contributions, he's got something like 12 since his return from injury at the start of January. So he's really started to look like a proper player again. And so, yeah, so much of that comes down to Bamford and his role in driving United up the pitch. He's been, revolutionary for us. And there's no way I'm sat here talking about us as one of the best teams in the league without him at centre forward.
It's been amazing impact from it. I need to take down that shirt, don't I, before Wednesday night? I need to get that in the tip, don't I?
Well, I suppose there is a question though, Si. Do you need to take it down, or will you need to put it back up in the summer? Because if you're promoted and we are not, maybe there's a conversation to be had.
Don't make me dream. Don't make me dream of what would be my favourite signing ever, all time. I don't even care if he wouldn't be very good for us. That would just be unbelievable. Obviously, Cov fans will be well aware of a couple of your players. You've talked about Harmer so far. Callum O'Hare seems to start the season as your best player, pretty much, be on fire in that number 10 position. Has he found it a bit more difficult lately, or still been pretty impressive?
He has found it more difficult. He started the season in unbelievable form. He was our leading goal scorer, our leading assister. Everything good that we did went through Callum O'Hare, who was starting to look like an absolute superstar for this United team. However, I think everything I've talked about with the signing of Bamford has brought the most out of Gustavo Harmer. It's brought the most out of Andre Brooks. It's probably limited the impact that Callum O'Hare is capable of having. We were using him at the start of the season as our sole creator. Gustavo Harmer was out of the picture, whether it was injured, whether it was a lack of form. He just wasn't getting in the team. And that allowed O'Hare to thrive. He could drop into the half spaces between the left wing and the centre. He could sort of drive forward on beyond, say, Tyrese Campbell or Tom Cannon, because he knew that they weren't necessarily going to be holding the positions he'd like to be in. Whereas now that we've got Harmer in form, he's filling that role that you would usually want to see O'Hare in. And so his impact has absolutely been dropped in the recent games, but he still brings something just completely different to anybody else on the team. His pressing is still just insane. I can't believe he runs at the same intensity, the same speed at the end of February that he did at the start of September. The man is a machine, and that is so important for our way of playing, because United are really keen. We try and get it forward with Bamford, try and hold it up. If we lose it, it's all about high transitions, winning it back as quick as we can. And obviously using the pressing energy of O'Hare is just crucial to that. So still a massive part of the team, probably still on balance the player of the year. But yeah, he's certainly had a massive impact on his sort of season that we've got Bamford and a fully fit and firing Gustavo Harmer.
And Calvin Phillips was doing reasonably well, it seemed, for you, until he decided to, stud someone halfway up the leg and get sent off. Cov fans will be looking at that as a bit of a bonus. Is that how it feels? A bit of a big miss for you for this game, or not that bothered?
I mean, it's a shambles, isn't it? What is he doing? What is that thought process? Oh, what's that? We're 2-0 up in what, could be an absolute rout, because we're absolutely just playing at 20%, finding it really easy. I know what I'll do. I'll go through somebody at knee high. It was one of the most ridiculous red cards. I know United fans might argue. Some I've seen saying, oh, it's harsh. Oh, it's not a red card. It is. It's just absolutely a red card. There's no argument. I saw Calvin Phillips himself being like, how's that a red? Because you went through him with your studs in the knee. What are you talking about?
Do you know the rules of football, Calvin?
It's the most obvious red card we're going to get all year. And we've had a lot in recent weeks. So that's something to watch out for. But yeah, it's a massive loss because our midfield is so unbalanced without him, because we'd started playing with Sidney Peck and Jairo Riedewald. They were an outstanding pair, really playing well together. Jairo Riedewald then picked up an injury. That meant that we'd started playing Sidney Peck alongside Oli Arblaster. And I love Sidney Peck. I love Oli Arblaster. They are not a functional midfield when they play together. It's just not something they can do. I was thinking back to that Borough game, and, we started really well. High intensity. The press coming out of midfield with the energy was outstanding. But after 10 minutes, Oli Arblaster's still coming back from really serious knee injury. He was out for more than 12 months. And so he's just not up to the speed of the game still. And he's not going to be until the start of next season, probably, in terms of what we're asking for him. So when he tired, what we then saw was, and I say this and I sound like an idiot because I sound like I'm some kind of robot who just watches football and takes a screenshot. But I've got such a clear image of, I think the ball was with Malander at centre-half for Borough. We'd pressed him. We'd got 3 players around him. It was O'Hare, it was Brooks, it was Bamford. And then just in the space behind, we'd got Sidney Peck, who'd push forward to try and cover the next centre-half. You then had a direct row of 4 Middlesbrough players before you then saw Oli Arblaster stood on the halfway line. And everyone was like, oh, they're cutting through us with ease. Oh, how do they play through the press so well? Well, because you've given them 4 players to receive the ball and turn. One of those players is Hayden Hackney. What do you mean you're surprised about why they're tearing us apart? And so, yeah, it looks as though that might be the midfield that starts this game. And if so, I would expect you to have a lot of luck in that exact same position. If you can get through that first line of the press, there will be so much time and space for players to get a foot on the ball, turn and play. Grimes, for example, might absolutely thrive in that environment because he'll have a foot on the ball, time around him to just pick the passes and dictate that sort of tempo of the game. So I personally am hoping that Jibril Samare comes in. I think he's a much better partner to Sidibe, but he's inconsistent at best. If you press Jibril Samare, you'll score a goal off it because his first touch is either the most perfect first touch you've ever seen, or he kicks it 15 yards in the wrong direction. There's no in between. He either boots it away or controls it perfectly. And I'm not sure he ever knows what he's going to do. So will be interesting.
I think that midfield battle is really interesting, especially with Coventry's improvement. I mean, Onyeka's come in, played 2 games, got 2 wins, and just looked like a Premier League player and pretty much solved every worry and issue we had with our midfield and being torn open, like you just mentioned. He's pretty much gone in there and just calmed everything down. You match that up with Jack Rodoni, who's been building into the season. And against West Brom, he put in his best performance of the season and scored a wonder goal. And if he can pick up those pockets in that number 10 role and play like he did at the end of last season, there's a real chance for joy, I think, for Cov in that midfield area. We've got depth now, which is lovely to say, and what we've managed to add in January, and our bench is looking fantastic as well. I'm talking myself into getting confident here, Ollie. What is going on? What I would point out, which I pointed out on that Cov pod as well, is our form at Bramall Lane's pretty horrendous. I don't think we've won there since 2013. Stephen Presley's team won there. And in the last 2 visits, 2 of our best players have done their ACL in Oliver Dovin and a certain Callum O'Hare on Boxing Day 2 years ago. I was there for that day, and it was maybe the only occasion where we had Ben Sheaf, Callum O'Hare, Gustavo Hamer, and Victor Gyökeres on the pitch all at once. And we got it for about 10 minutes, and then O'Hare did his ACL. So not being a happy hunting ground. How are you feeling then, Ollie, on Wednesday night? Do you need to win this to keep up your playoff push? How many points are you off? Are you still hopeful?
Yeah, so it's 6 points from the playoffs for United, but we've still got Wrexham and a few of the other teams in the chasing pack to come to Bramall Lane, which I think is a real sort of statement for us. It means that we've got an opportunity to close that gap. But it doesn't really matter if we lose all the other games. I would say this is the only game that we've got left that you would say you can have a bit of a free hit at, because nobody expects you to take 3 points off Coventry. If we get any points, you look at it and you say, that's a bonus that I didn't know we were going to get. So we'll take that and run. So yes, it would be really, really problematic for us getting in the playoffs. But I do think if we lose this, there's no reason to panic. My bigger worry is it goes one of 2 ways. This could be after the Lord Mayor's show. We had a big party on Sunday. We enjoyed ourselves. We had a celebration. We partied in front of the Kop. You know, we had a fantastic experience and the fans were really riding a high at full time. But that papers over the cracks of a really poor performance. We really weren't very good. And like I say, anybody who watched it will agree that we were a bit rubbish in terms of trying to get through that game. So we've got to up our intensity and we've got to play properly. What normally happens when we beat Wednesday is we go on a bit of a run. It's happened every time under Wilder in recent years where that result has almost been the catalyst to kick us on. I think you were the unlucky recipients last year when we went and won at Hillsborough. We'd been sort of edging over the line in games. We'd been really poor. We won at Hillsborough. You came to Bramall Lane the next game, and I think we won with 3-1 and Harmer scored a worldie, something like that. And so, you know,
every single time we go to Bramall Lane, that's the score as well.
Well, let's hope it's the score again. That'd be great, right? I'm worried, if I'm honest, because I think ultimately, I think you're better than us. I think that it comes down to, if I was choosing which team I think is more likely to win this, you are a better team than we are. You're in better form than we are, if we're being honest, albeit we have been great at Bramall Lane. I think the performance level from us has dipped since that Middlesbrough game. It was almost as if we said, right, let's show the best we've got. And when that wasn't good enough, it might have knocked the confidence just a little bit in terms of how that goes forward. So, yeah, I am optimistically thinking that we might get a point. I'm optimistically predicting a 2-2. But like I say, it's an optimistic pick because I do think that I'd be fancying your chances if I was you.
Ollie, that's exactly my score prediction. We've done it again. I've gone for a 2-2 as well. I can see us winning this game. I don't think we'll lose. I'm feeling quite optimistic in the fact I don't think we'll lose. What I would say is you've had the emotional kind of thing of playing on Sunday as well. It's the day after we played. We played in the early kickoff on Saturday, and we didn't have to get out of second gear to beat West Brom, who are just an awful football team right now. So I think there's benefits to that in a 3-game week. This is a tough place for us, though. The atmosphere will be up. You've got some absolute quality players we already know about. Defence is probably there to be got at. It depends. We beat Middlesbrough in our best performance of the season, put an end to that horrible losing run.
Yeah.
We've managed to back it up with a win over West Brom, I can't put too much weight on that because of how bad West Brom are right now, much as though you can't put much on actually beating Sheffield Wednesday because they're a very poor outfit. It brings us to a very interesting time.
Off the back of us beating Sheffield Wednesday because of how bad we played. Like if we'd gone out and beat them 6-0, I'd be going, yeah, buzz in, we'll be fine, which is what we should have done. Instead, what we actually did was we went out and went, oh, wait a minute, this is a game of football. We've got to play like professionals. I didn't expect that, and we nearly threw it away. So, yeah, if anything, I'm less confident off the back of beating Wednesday than I was beforehand.
You could have had a few more players sent off. In fact, I think Gustavo Harmer should have been sent off. You see that kick out? Can we get that sent to the FA before we kick off?
What's the stud in the stomach between friends? Come on.
Seen that many times at the CBS over the years as well. So yeah, mate, I'm on for a 2-2 as well if I'm being a bit more cautious. I think we can win this game. Ultimately, we've taken the pressure off a bit with these 2 wins in a row, putting us back at the top of the league, 3 points clear. Bit of a gap. Middlesbrough are playing on Tuesday night. We'll see how the Tuesday night fixtures pan out. Ultimately, a point would be a very, very good away point. If we pick up a point in most of our away games and win our home games, we should win the league. So it's about managing these situations. This is probably our toughest test left of the season, which is positive. And I'm going to say a 2-2 draw and very, very entertaining. Oli, thank you very much for joining me, mate. We'll probably do something over on your channel as well. So check that out if you want a double episode of Oli and Simon previewing Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United versus Coventry. And yeah, like and subscribe. Get your score predictions in the comments down below, folks. And I'll see you